What's good, y'all? Welcome back to Outside the Clutch. This is, oh crap, what is this? Episode 34. Good Lord. We're rolling this week. We're rolling. I've been talking to this man for, uh, I guess we're going to have to ask him. I want to say it's been a couple of years now. Um, we had the opportunity to meet in Arlington, didn't really get to talk as much in Arlington as I would have liked. So we're bringing him here tonight and we're getting to know him. And he's in a project that really piques my interest, but I have not been able to divulge myself in that direction yet. I'm trying to keep mine at a manageable size for me and me alone. Um, with that being said, we'll get into all that, but I'm super excited to have Andrew Lyons from Redwood Reptiles tonight. We're gonna jump into him in just a minute. First, I want to thank all of y'all that are watching. Obviously, it's a big thing for me. Jacob, we see you. Thanks for coming on in support of Andrew. CRM Reptiles, thanks for coming on. Everyone else that pops up as you're popping up, hey, come in, say hi. Make sure you're hitting like and subscribe. Share this out with everybody so we can get some love up for Andrew. Um, we are right there in being monetized. Like I'm within 100 hours right now of being monetized on this channel. So once we hit that, that is actually going to give us an opportunity to find another way to create fundraisers and things to build for USARK. You guys know I'm an avid supporter of USARK. I think it's very important what they do. Um, I hope y'all just help us get there. When we get there, I hope you're enjoying these and you become part of all the things we have coming up. Super excited for a couple of the ideas. Like I want to bring people into shows that they don't normally go to under VIP and things like that with that money. And then I want to bring more support to USARK and do kind of like raffles and stuff outside of it. So pretty excited for that. Anna, what's good? What's good? Max, I see you. Lindsay, what's up? So the thing that helps us really do this is our sponsors. And I wouldn't be where I am without doing the proper husbandry. You guys know how important husbandry is for me. With that being said, I think it's only right to give love to the people that care about giving your animals the best husbandry. Here at Outside the Clutch, we're honored to be sponsored by VivTech. Are you ready for innovation? Tired of the same boring product that's been used for 30 years? Ready to give your reptiles and amphibians the UV they really deserve? Then look no farther than VivTech. Their 3-watt LED bulbs provide the UV rays your animals have been missing. With 3 bulbs to fit your pet's climate needs, plus a dimmable feature, it's the only bulbs we use for UV. And it's the only bulb with a 2-year warranty in the industry. Plus now you can monitor all your pet's husbandry from your phone 24/7 with their sensors and even ship your customers' animals in their custom bags. So what are you waiting for? Go to vivtechproducts.com today, use code FCLUTCH0322 for 15% off, and provide your animals the best care they've ever had. And y'all know I'm an avid supporter of that Rep-to-Chip life. Be about it. Are you ready for the best coconut substrate in the game? Then you gotta get Rep-to-Chip. First off, it's America's chip because it's veteran owned. Secondly, why wouldn't you want the best cocoa chip for your animals? Go to reptochip.com, use code FeelyChippin for 10% off 2 breeder blocks, or reach out to me as a local representative in the El Paso area. And don't forget to join the Reptolution, where all profits go to helping those in need within the reptile community. And finally, we have Mickey from Show Me Snake Shows. Put on Venom Fest here recently. Venom Fest was a huge freaking hit. He's putting on so many shows throughout the country every weekend. Just go check one out. Let them know that you came over from Feely's Clutch or Outside the Clutch or whatever it is. And show some love and support to them as well. Now that I've watched this dude make like a bunch of faces, and we gave him that little almost like a pre-job interview feel. Like you know how they do you when you're about to do an interview and they're like, let's make them wait for like 5, 10, 15 minutes, see if they get uncomfortable. Well, we did that to Andrew, so let's get him in here and find out what he's really about. So I give it up for Mr. Andrew Lyons from Redwood Reptiles.
What's up?
What's up, dude? How you
What's
doing?
going on? How are you?
I'm doing well. Doing
Good.
well. All right. So let's just jump into it, man. Like I took 5 minutes of their time. I took 5 minutes of your time. Let's jump into it. You came into the industry strong. What motivated you to push the way you did when you first came into the scene?
Well, probably the biggest thing was the investment I made, and it was part of the reason why I made that investment and took such a risk was because I knew that it would keep me fueled to keep going and keep pushing with this whole thing. So, I've told a couple people I've said it before, and some people think I'm crazy, and it might be a bad might turn out to have been a bad gamble, but I liquidated my 401k and dumped it into everything that I had. So I didn't really have any savings aside from that, and but I knew by doing that, obviously it's a big risk. I knew it would push me to keep at it.
No, I think a lot of people are gonna say it's a risk, man. But at the end of the day, I think you have to do that. Like, how do I want to put this? Like, you got to put yourself in a corner almost to ensure that you have to succeed. It's like now you're coming to the end of your career. You just had a baby this year, right?
Yeah.
How it was a boy or a girl?
Girl, all girls.
Little girl. Oh man, you're in trouble. You got a little princess right before getting out of work. You're definitely in trouble, sir.
Yeah.
So you got a little girl. So she's gonna need like all the dresses and all the bows and all the ponies because you live out in Cali. And man, that's crazy. Yeah. I applaud you for having the cojones for that. But
it's actually
I think that's the way you work. Like putting yourself against the wall, you're gonna work harder.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, so it's that. It's also I was amazed that when I first started, I always had snakes just as pets, but once I realized that there was actually a business element to it and a legitimate one, it really interested me because I was always trying to find something to do, like to work for myself, and did stuff on the side always, and it was just it was pretty cool. Dynamic, the whole breeding thing, as far as how you can stay at home and make your own schedule, and you can really take it anywhere, because we do want to leave California eventually, when that's possible. And
so, where are you guys looking at then?
Midwest, South, so Texas, Tennessee, Georgia. She wants Florida, but that weather scares me, right?
That class 3 license is scary for a lot of people too.
I saw, yeah, that too. I've seen a lot of roofs being ripped off. Everyone talks about California has earthquakes, but I mean, nobody's ever been swallowed by an earthquake. I think Northridge in '93 was probably the last big one, or '94, and I don't even, I think something fell on my head. But like I've seen plenty of houses get shredded with these hurricanes. It's not, it's not something I'd be terrified. So my heart goes out to those people, but it's a real thing over there, and so maybe I'm a little ignorant to it. I've never even been to Florida, but
well, I mean, it's pretty. I'll give you that. It's so freaking hot.
Yeah,
so freaking hot.
Oh, I know. I got family in Louisiana, and the summers if it's anything like that, then I want nothing to do with it. Yeah. Brutal.
Oh man. So you jumped in. We're getting sidetracked, but I like it. You jumped in. Did you go just for ball pythons, or did you go like scatterbrained like a lot of people do when they first jump in and just start grabbing different species left and right?
No, it was just ball pythons.
Okay.
But I was scatterbrained with the projects because I liked damn near everything, so I just started grabbing all. Right. I'd see something on MORPHMARKET, I want to make that, how to make that, and then I'd get 1 or 2 snakes to try and make that, or and so I end up with a bunch of different projects, but really all my eggs in 2 snakes, in 1 basket essentially. So I thinned it out, thinned the herd out a little bit. I'm still doing some of that, and it's starting to get more focused and centered around particular projects that I'm more passionate about.
Nice. So who'd you kind of bring in as a mentor, and who'd you bounce your ideas off of to kind of refocus yourself?
Billy, Mutations
Billy?
of Creation. Yeah, big time. He was huge for me, especially my first year. He was super helpful. I was in his Patreon, and that helped. But yeah, that was. I mean, I could call him whenever and give you a ton of information.
Okay.
So and saved me too a lot of time. With certain little tidbits now that's like common knowledge, but then I didn't know, and so had I not heard that, I would have kept doing something wrong for a while. So yeah, that was huge. I tell people to get a solid mentor if they're getting into it, someone you can trust, and then other people started coming along, but mostly in the beginning it was Billy.
Nice. Okay. And one of the things I talked about at the beginning of this year, well, I guess the beginning of the podcast, was your groups of circles. Like when I first started this podcast, it was very much business orientated because I was going through a business management degree, right? And so like that's the only way my head revolved. And I was always about, okay, well, you got to make your circle, and you got to stick to that circle, and that circle either brings you up or takes you down. And I want to say you guys call yourselves what, the Cali Collective or something like
No,
that?
I said that one time.
The Three Amigos.
I felt so stupid after I said that too, so I'm embarrassed. But I was trying to think of something, catchy and clever. But yeah, no, there's some of us out here that are super close. Yeah,
I like that, man. I like that. I think that's really brought you kind of out of your shell. Like I remember when we first started talking, it was very direct. You still have that. Like obviously there's a sense of that there because of your job and what you do, but it was very direct and somewhat short unless we got talking in on like a specific project or something. And I think they really helped pull you out of your shell. What's it been like this past year when you really took the leap, man? Because like you were talking about, you didn't know if you were going to do shows or what you were going to do, like maybe traveling to them, but now you're regularly doing vending at shows with your group. It seems like you all are kind of pushing each other to expand out in different avenues. So
yeah, that's been huge. You're 100% correct. It did bring me out in part because once I really started to get to know people that I vibed with on a personal level outside of the snakes, it helped kind of give me a little more confidence as far as this might be something I wanted to do, or there's actually really good people in this industry. And so I just started kind of, yeah, you're right. I opened up a little bit, started taking more chances, going on more lives, and not really feeling like I had anything to offer, but still just doing it. Same thing with the vending. Troy's been huge for that aspect of it, big time. I'd only gone to a handful of shows prior to vending my first one, and it didn't really appeal to me, to be honest. I never thought I would want to vend. The first time I kind of shared a table was in Anaheim, and I was in and out because I had a lot of stuff going on that weekend. But the time that I was there and talking to people, and I dug it. I really did, and I like vending, and it's especially with the guys that we deal with. Yeah, Troy's awesome. Troy's Jacob, Jerome, Antoine. Like having those four guys in the corner and being able to have, the relationship we do is made it so much better. I can't imagine not having people like that or people that I'm close with and still doing this and enjoying it as much.
okay.
Not even. Yeah.
What do you think is one of the biggest things that you've learned with your quick jump into vending? Because vending, it like you got to find your style with that almost. Like you can't just jump into it and just be you. You almost, well, you should be you. That came out wrong.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah, that persona you have behind the table. You got to be a little bit different.
Yeah. Well, you got to kind of. I mean, you're constantly gauging your audience, right? So it's like if you're a waiter at a restaurant, you can't really be yourself. You can, but you've also got to read the audience. So
Put that face
it's kind of
on.
like that. I'm a terrible salesman if it's something especially with something I don't believe in. So like I suck at that. I'll never sell cards. So for me, I don't like that hard push. I don't like that hard sell. Sometimes when I go to shows, I just like to look and not be hassled. They can, say hi and all that. But when you start pushing it, for me personally, it's not my thing. So I try not to do that when people come by. I guarantee you I could be doing stuff better, but I just kind of make it casual, like, you know, say, hey, you guys just looking or whatever, and you know, if they strike up conversation, cool. If not, then whatever. But yeah, I thought it was going to take a little bit longer to kind of find my groove behind the table, and it came fairly quick for me personally. Yeah.
It's almost how do I want to put this? It's almost a rush, man. Like it's almost a high in of itself. Like the amount of people that you see, especially at the bigger shows, like the stuff like Anaheim and Pomona and stuff. You'll talk to thousands of people a weekend, not even realize it. And yeah, so it's like one of the things that I had, like I brought an intern with me to my last show just to kind of show them and try to help them with figuring out how to sell animals for themselves, right? And they're just like, man, like we didn't realize what was behind it. It makes for well, 3 very long days with setup, right? But what do you think your strength has been so far, and where would you like to see yourself kind of improve in the vending? And do you think that's going to become a staple for you, or is that just going to be kind of a thing for you locally?
Definitely going to be a staple. I know for a fact I'm vending Pomona in January. I'd like to do. I went to Tinley for the first time this last month, but
Okay.
that shows. I mean, the shows that I've been at, the West Coast shows, have not been anywhere near that. Like the sales that were going on, the people, the buzz, it was totally different. So I'd love to drive out and vend some more shows out this way. Well, I'm in Illinois right now, that's why I say this way. But yeah, I dig the shows. If you were to ask some of those dudes I've been with, especially Jerome, what my weakness would be, it'd probably be my punctuality.
Hey, I saw that today. I wasn't gonna bring it up, but you said it. You said it, so I'm gonna get you right now. This dude was late. This dude was late. No, I'm just kidding.
My time management is not it's not my strong suit. So that needs to probably improve. But I think just it's not a big deal, but I think just like kind of getting I kind of equate it to being in law enforcement. We have what's called a war bag. I know military guys have things like that as well. And you just know what you need after doing it long enough, and you know what you don't need. In the beginning, you get all kinds of shit, and you end up using half of it. So it's kind of that where I've got to just narrow it down after enough practice, and then I'll know exactly what I need. But yeah, I think it's huge for me. It's been huge to actually get stuff ready the night before, because I'm not traveling a long way. The longest I went was Vegas. But guys like Troy that are traveling cross country, and they've got a ton of animals, way more than I got, and a lot more shit to set up. Like you need time. You need to spend a lot of time setting up. So I think that if I were to have bigger, I don't know, more animals or bigger setup, for sure I'd have to prepare a lot better. But for what I have now, which is small, it's preparing the day prior and then just bringing it there has worked for me. Strong suit, I don't really know, to be honest with you. I tend to I can get along with people. I can talk to them when they come by. But yeah, I'm not a great salesman. So
so that's where we got to go, huh?
Mm-hmm.
We gotta
improve that.
Into sales expos or something like that to get you used to it.
Yeah.
All right. Nice, man. So what have the first couple of shows for you out in California been like? Like, is it a solid turnout? Is it decent numbers? Are you like?
No. So I went to Arlington. Went to a couple Pomona shows, Anaheim, and then I went to Arlington before I vended any shows. And so that's kind of my comparison was the last show, which was Arlington, and then I went to Anaheim. It's pretty slow. I mean, it seemed like it's a decent amount of people, but the sales weren't really great. Pomona, similar thing, but the people seemed like it was way down. Vegas was terrible.
I heard that from a lot of people.
Man. Yeah, I love Vegas too, so it sucked. But I mean, I had a good time, but I broke even for the trip. Like, so I mean, that's good, I guess. But from what I heard, nobody's really making a killing there except for those gecko people. But yeah, so that was brutal. And then going to Tinley, it was like polar opposite. So if you were to ask me, my limited experience, I'd say it's been slow, and that's what I've heard from other people that have been doing it longer as well. So yeah, but I actually talked to a couple people that build acrylic displays and other things, and they're saying that their sales have sunk on the West Coast, but the Midwest and the East Coast, it's skyrocketing. So I think the shows are correlating to that too, because I know Daytona was pretty good for people, and so I know Arlington's good. But yeah.
So you said you do, what'd you call it? A war bag?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just what they call your war bag or D bag, whatever.
Yeah. So, well, I think I don't know what we called it in the. Honestly, I didn't have like a nickname for it. It was just like my overnight
shit?
bag or something like that. Yeah, my shit. That was the joy of being the medic, though, was like, oh, you grab like a little backpack that has a change of clothes or two for a 5-day span, and you just hope it doesn't get that bad.
Yeah.
And then you attach that to your aid bag and you just jump in a vehicle and go. But yeah. So I kind of did the same thing when I started mine. So I understand it, man. I think the biggest thing for it is like night before or even the day before that. Like the day before that, I write out, okay, well, this is how I want to change my stuff and this is what I'm going to need. And then the day before is obviously the pack up checklist and all that crap. And then you drive off. Unless you're like my Odessa show, like literally, I grabbed everything, I put it in, and I hoped that I had it. I drove out the morning of the show at like 2:00 in the morning, drove to Odessa, got there right at opening for set up, and worked the whole day. It was a horrible idea, but
That sounds like
I was like, oh, I forgot this and I forgot that. Hey, do you guys got an extra extension cord? I can't give heat to my animals.
You got scissors.
What's been like the craziest thing that's happened to you so far in your vending experience?
So like seeing one of my seeing Jacob sell a fucking $15,000-$20,000 snake, whatever the hell he sold it for. And then that was in Vegas, and seeing the rest of us, I don't even know if we combined for that much. So that was awesome. But seeing him, seeing somebody that was kind of like came on the same time I did, or around that time, and to be able to produce something that he could sell for that, I mean, that's rad. So we were all jealous but happy for him. So that was pretty cool. The gecko thing was crazy. I didn't really see that go down, but just hearing about it's nuts. I haven't really had anything crazy happen to me or happen for me, but yeah, for
so you haven't like forgot like a very important thing, or you've been lucky in that aspect?
I feel like you know something that I can't think of.
No, I don't. Okay. No, I'm saying it because when I went to Arlington and I vended Arlington, so my setups are usually 2 tables long, and I usually have a TV, right? Well, I thought the TV power cord was the cord for one of my LED lights, so I threw it in the case. And when I got there, I could only light one of my displays, so I had to like go around all of Arlington talking to everybody. Luckily, Troy and JSA took care of me and got me a splitter so I could run both lamps. But dude, if they didn't have that splitter, I would have been screwed. Like and my most expensive animals were in that display, so I was I'm gonna have to like I don't know what to do here. Am I gonna switch animals around in their enclosures, or what am I gonna do? Luckily it got taken care of. But that's why I asked that, because you have those sometimes have those moments where you forget something where you really wish you didn't.
Oh, so for sure. Like lights at Pomona, when I was vending with, it was just me and Jerome, and he had the lights. I didn't have lights yet. And the first show, that was the second show I vended. The first one was pretty bright. It was Anaheim. Pomona's a lot darker. And so I had to constantly keep taking a light and shining it, and it was bad. So I ordered lights then at the table. So not having the lights sucked. But yeah, you see draws in the dark, and I was. So, but yeah, but nothing so far, knock on wood, I haven't screwed anything up too bad yet. Yeah.
It's a learning experience either way, man. It's your first year doing it. I wouldn't worry
Right.
about it. So let's talk about your collection real quick. We'll start getting into it. So how big is the collection now?
Right now it's about 175, 200, right around there.
And you do it all by yourself, or you and
No, I'd like to say I do. My girl actually helps out a lot. She actually, before we met, she bred tortoises too. So she's got her own tortoises that she does. That's actually why she wants to go to Florida, is because she wants to go work at the Florida tortoise iguana ranch or whatever. She loves that place. But yeah, so she kind of understood the whole process of having to be in there and take care of them and change one. So, but she didn't like snakes. That was not her thing. But now it's like she's done a total 180. Like she's on it. So me going away, I've had to go away sometimes for work, and especially the last couple of months. And she's been really taking care of things. Pulled a clutch last month for the first time, and been feeding and changing waters. And so that's been huge, because I wouldn't be able to leave them for 3-4 weeks at a time if I didn't have anyone there. So she helps out a lot. Even when I'm just at home, I'm feeding, and I have to go back and check them. She'll come in there and check them for me, or check them with me. That was about twice. Sorry, it was twice. He did help out. Brian does help out. I was my rat guy. Yeah,
Brian's a good
Matt
man.
Summers helped out too one time. So I had it's teamwork. But generally speaking, yeah, she's usually out there helping.
It's awesome, man. It's a lot of animals. Like I try to limit myself to about 150 with grow ups, breeders, and babies at a time. And once it starts getting over that, I can't really handle it. So
No, and I'm at that point too where I'm starting to thin the herd big time. I'm starting to, all right, I gotta get rid of this, gotta get rid of that. It becomes too much. And then I start screwing up. Like I should have had at least double the amount of clutches I had this year, but because I didn't, I assumed, like in my brain, I was like, oh, she just laid, like, whatever one it was. There's time. And then I looked at the records after a month or two, and I was like, oh shit, she laid this month last year. So I missed so much because the time that I am out there, it's constantly just changing water, cleaning whatever, and cleaning tubs. And so sometimes that breeding aspect kind of escapes you, or it did me at least.
right.
And so the other parts start to suffer, not just my time, but just that too. So I totally get it. I think I'm good. I don't want a lot more for now.
So let's talk about your projects. Let's see if we can. There we go. Pull this up, and you already know we're going to talk about your sunset stuff, like obviously. But so, besides the sunset? What's something you're really focused on?
Mandarin. Those are probably my two biggest ones. So yeah, Mandarin, and obviously the staples like desert ghosts, clown, other things like that, but pied. But my whole thing is I want to be excited to cut these clutches or pull these eggs, and I've had, maybe 5 or 6, somewhere around there, clutches where I'm just like, I knew what they were going to be. I wasn't excited. The time they finally came, I was never going to use any of them, so I'm trying to sell them all off. And that wasn't the plan initially. The plan was, yeah, I can make this, and then I can make this. But then when the time came, they were I want to say obsolete, but as far as my breeding plans go, they weren't going to fit in. So I'm continuously trying to think of pairings that are different or clever, take some more risks, because I can only copy so many times, right?
No, I feel you. I think it's one of the big things everyone in your group does, man. Like whether it's you, Jared, Antoine, Troy, you all definitely want to pioneer the projects that you're in, which I applaud. It's very easy to ride people's coattails and just make the same stuff that is going to sell versus taking a chance on yourself.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's just, for me personally, I don't get as much satisfaction out of it. Like I'm at a point now. I got lucky with some of my investments. Like I said, all my eggs are in one basket. So the Mandarin, I thought I had two. I only had one male that's been really producing stuff for me. And then I've been lucky with those odds. And then I got lucky with the sunset odds. And so now I'm kind of in a position going forward where I can start to work these projects actually, and kind of not necessarily be at the front, but be up there, you know. So it's pretty exciting once you get there and it pans out, you know.
So we're just going to bring it up, man. You've been very focused on the sunset. It's something that's always intrigued me. My mentor has always said that it turns into a brown turd and it scares the living heck out of me. What made you choose sunset to be so focused on?
I don't, you know, I forget what picture I saw or video or something. It was right around the time I discovered a super mandarin, or what was called, they were calling a super mandarin, and then also a couple other projects. And it stuck with me. And actually a male sunset was one of the probably the biggest first purchase that I made. Drove out and got him. And he's not, I know what you're talking about when they brown out, because there's some and they look like shit. Like there's plenty of sunsets that I think look like shit that I wouldn't buy. I don't care what genes are in them. If they look that, I just don't like them. Right. So the goal for me is to make something that people like and that I like. And if it comes out looking like shit, like that one you're scrolling past right there, go down, right there in the middle, that's that leopard pastels. So that was after I think one shed maybe. Brightened up considerably since then, big time. But that one, when it came out, looked like shit, and so did another one in there. And I even said like, oh, it kind of looks like crap. Like that pastel spot nose, I didn't think looked great. But yeah. So, but they have improved, which is awesome. Mandarin kind of, I noticed, has done the same thing. It's improved big time between hatchling to 500 grams. I feel like it peaks kind of, but yeah. So you know, I'm big on that, big on being honest with myself and what I produce. And if it's cool. If not, then fuck it. Well, you know, can't all be winners. What do you want? So yeah,
For sure. No, I feel you on that one, man. Like I think you've done a really good job of seeing what works in it and keeping that in your projects and finding other stuff to add into it. I'm really liking the influences that you're putting out this year. So
thank you. I appreciate that.
They're not all turds. I'll give you that. I'll give you
not yet, at least, right?
Not all turds. Yeah, give them another 500 grams.
Yeah, right. So that one right there, that one is the 100% the snake I was shooting for. Because I kind of screwed up with that male sunset. He was a breeder. I bred him to a desert ghost female that reabsorbed. I bred him to something else that I'm not even sure. I won't even be able to know if that was what took it, because I screwed up on the pairing until they get older. But I ended up selling it thinking that, okay, because somebody hit me up. They had some 66 percenters that they wanted to try and prove out, just single gene. So I said, okay, well, instead of just making visual sunsets, let me see if I can, this is going to be a year, you know, forward. So I was like, okay, well, by the time next year rolls around, let me have something let me find a hatchling sunset that has a codon with it that I can make something more than just a visual sunset. So that was the thought process behind selling that breeder male, which I sold for fucking half the price, not knowing that I should have. No one had sold in like 9 seconds, but but those guys are killing it with that snake too, which is awesome. So he's been breeding really good for them. But then I had the dilemma. Okay, I had a visual and I had a het female, but I had no males. I had no hets, and I couldn't afford a visual male for what they were going for, because that's when they just skyrocketed. And I got lucky with the one I found from Miguel. He was selling. It was a pastel leopard spot nose double het sunset clown, and so I bought that from him. It didn't, break the bank, and I mean, this is kind of the result of that. So out of 7, I had 4 visuals. And so that's kind of like another thing that I've learned too, is
nice, man.
You can do the route and get the visuals and spend the high dollars on both of them and know what you're going to get. And that's awesome. I don't knock that. If I had the money, I'd do the same thing. But I think that I'm also not good with playing 50 to 50%, right? So that's right. I feel so like there's a happy medium for me, which is spend the majority of the money on one side and then find a complementary het on the other side and take the chance. So that's what I've done with a couple pairings, including that one especially.
So I'm going to assume you keep at least picture records of everything. Have you found that putting het to het is giving you better visual odds or visual to het? Because there's a lot of speculation from people on this where they say they get better odds when they're doing het to het, so they don't even
Really? Well,
like they will pair their hets to visuals. They'll do visual to visual and know the entire thing, or they'll like create hets off of it, but they put hets.
Yeah, I haven't had any het to het pairings that I've produced. So one side's been a visual. There was something that I thought was a male that I was breeding quite a bit that I thought was het hypo. It turned out to be a visual hypo. It was a DG combo and turned out to be, I got 14 out of 16 visual hypos and killing, like, it was crazy. So I've had a lot of good luck as far as odds. But there's always been a visual on one side, usually. That's kind of how I set it up. I have a puzzle het to het right now that I'm doing. That could be cool. But other than that, I don't have much experience with the het to het pairings.
I wish you luck with that, man.
Thanks.
Puzzle and pieds, man. They're they're a sore spot for me.
What's that?
They're heartbreakers. It's just I never so I've lost. I actually never put this out. I guess I should put it out eventually one day. Well, I guess it's getting put out now. I've lost 3 breeder pied females.
Really?
From becoming egg bound, and I just, even taking them with a vet, I couldn't do anything. Which sucks. Like literally grown 3 pieds up from babies, and when I was like, it's finally gonna happen, something happens. So I have a sore spot with pieds, and that's why I say I hate pieds.
Yeah.
I don't hate the pattern. I hate the way they treat me.
Yeah.
But
the way they make you
puzzle's
feel.
the same thing, man. Like I have a double visual puzzle male that he will not lock with anything.
Really?
He's big enough. He's a proven breeder from someone else, and I picked him up, and I'm just like, I can't get him to lock with anything. I don't know what it is. But that's the name of the game, man. Ugh. Like it is what it is.
Well, that was the puzzles that got me, like, I almost tossed that project. It was actually Billy, and he's like, no, I had a visual and a het. And he's like, just keep them and breed them once. You already raised them, spent the money you spent. You fed them for 10 months or whatever it was at the time. So I did it, and I produced some really cool looking puzzle stuff I got lucky with. And so, that male ended up siring a lot of clutches for me. So a lot of het stuff, a lot of double het, triplet stuff. So it hasn't necessarily worked out super financially well for me because I'm holding a lot of it back, the visual stuff. But I'm actually able to have some build up a somewhat of a puzzle program. Yeah. Oh, I thought I was saying something funny. So anyways, yeah, but I dig puzzles. Probably one of my more focused projects, and it definitely got me. I really don't know what's going on over there. Just kid taking a crap on the floor.
Did you hear it? No.
Oh.
My youngest is doing the Ric Flair woo through the hall. Sorry. Oh man. Oh. Jeez. That threw me off bad. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's all good.
Go ahead. What were you saying?
That's pretty much it. I was really focused on what was so funny. I wanted to laugh too.
Like I had to talk to him because he was running to the door and back through the hallways and just doing the Ric Flair yell.
He's possessed with the Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just funny. And I was like, oh, they're gonna hear this. Like as soon as I muted my mic because I heard it coming. I was like, I muted my mic and I was like, oh, they're gonna.
I should have left it in.
Yeah. But yeah, man. So Let's jump back into like what's kind of brought you to where you are now. So you said you're working about 200 animals. You have help, but social media, man, like social media has been a make or break for a lot of people besides just vending. And I feel like that's the two really big avenues that you take in this industry is either you're very much in front of people with vending, or you have to find a way to become relevant on social media in order to get in front of people.
Yeah.
Um, what's kind of changed over the time with you with your social media? Like I see that you're posting a lot more and you're becoming a lot more active, which I'm gonna say I don't do it myself. Like I do really good for like a week or so, and then I'm just like I'm over this. So
It's tough. It's tough. I've got to stay consistent with something. I didn't do it. I didn't stay with YouTube, and I really want to get back into that. And going back to having so many animals, it's really hard to crawl out of that hole of chores to really set up an area or do something that you're willing to put out there. At least for me, and so I'm just like I got to stay consistent with Instagram. So I mean, what I'll do is I'll kind of every other day I'll go take a couple pictures and try and keep it to one a day. I haven't noticed anything if I do multiples, and sometimes I just get impatient, want to dump them in, and then I don't have anything for the next few days. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, just it hasn't been too. I kind of gotten a little bit of a rhythm, but I'm not nearly as active as I should be. Trying to always just communicate with people, respond, but yeah, I figure if I'm not gonna I'm trying to check off as many boxes as possible. And I think, like you said, vending, social media, those things are two huge things that are very important, or can be utilized to help you. And so I think that if I can just do both of them to the best of my ability, then it'll hopefully work out. But
do
yeah,
you think
social
your
media
groups kind of pulled you
dude, that
out
helps,
more
man.
with that
Honestly,
as
those
well? Like,
it helps motivate me because it's kind of cool that everyone's working. We're not all working. We have some similar projects, but everyone's got their own thing they're doing. So it's really cool to be able to see what everyone's doing. And I haven't we all get along so good that snakes aside, if we were all working at in and out, we'd still hang out. Like it's just like I bring up a food place, of course, but yeah. So like, there's never any animosity. There's never any shit talking or we're very open, not thin-skinned people, and it's just it's just easy to hang out with those guys. But it is motivating and it pumps me up. Like if I was gonna then promote it by myself, I wouldn't be excited for it,
right.
like I am with those guys. Same thing with Vegas, and because I feel like I don't know, just being a one-man show, I respect the guys that can do it, or that do it, because it's gotta be tough not being able to I don't know, break the monotony of just being by yourself. So having those guys, it definitely does motivate me to stay with it. And we have a thread that we're always posting stuff on and talking and just staying involved. But
Right.
yeah, I think that's so important, just with anything in life, just to have people that you care about, that that's how loyalty grows, right? Organically, if you actually care about the people, not fake shit, any of that other stuff. So my biggest thing is that, and if I get along with you, then it's important. It's important for me, at least.
I think it's really important that you take advantage of the area you're in as well. Like you have a couple of people that are really big on social media that can really coach you and guide you. And then on top of that, you're in LA, man. Like you have regular YouTubers that would be looking for snakes to do stuff. There's so much you could do there. I really
That's where I think Miguel.
I hope to see you come back, man.
I really want to. I have ideas, and that's one of the things I think that Miguel did that doesn't get enough credit for, is that dude's normalized the industry a lot more than people realized with more mainstream stuff. And I think that You know, because people are like, oh, you sell snakes. And then I say, oh, but look, this celebrity, this one has, they breed snakes too. And they're like, oh, and then they can open their mind to the idea of it. Right. But I think that was super smart of him to go around to those people as YouTubers and other, you know, celebrities and get in those circles. Because it's good for the whole community. It's good for him, obviously, but
Sure.
but that doesn't mean it's not good for everybody else. Right. So I think that, you know, I think that that's where that's needs to happen more. And that's to your point, you know, I think utilizing your surroundings and trying to, you know, if there's, that's like this thing now that they're doing a lot of like executive protection. So it is celebrities sometimes, but it's also just, you know, wealthy non-celebrities. But I'll always try and like sneak it in, like a little conversation about it, especially with celebrities. And sometimes, most of the times they're looking at me cross-eyed, but some of them are actually interested in it. So it's kind of cool. So I'm trying to like
Hell, you just talk
do
about.
what I can. Huh?
You know who I am. I'm not touching a snake.
Oh yeah. You breed what?
No. So, like watching the people that have done really big collabs, I just it amazes me, man. Like one of the things I talk to, and I talk with Matt Summers regularly, and I told him one of my goals one day, because Matthew McConaughey is in Texas. My goal is to get him to hold a snake and shoot a video of what was it? The Wolf of Wall Street, when he's talking about numbers and they're at lunch and he's like,
oh,
those are
that'd be
rip
so
numbers.
sick.
You got to bump up those numbers because of
Yeah.
the meme. I want to shoot a video of him holding snakes, actually saying it.
That'd be rad. Yeah, no, it's Matt Summers, you mentioned.
Yeah. I love that dude, man. I
yeah, me
Matt.
too. That's a good dude. But he's getting out there too. He's doing like what you're talking about. He's fucking putting in the miles.
It's grinding, man.
Yeah, he's got a good aesthetic style, like what he likes, and his design and everything's really really nice. I dig it. So plus, he's a super nice guy.
Oh yeah, for sure. So with having a princess now, are you gonna let her kind of dive into it head first, or what's your overall plan?
Well, I essentially got
with being
4
a
of
dad
them.
now?
I got 4
You have
girls.
4 of them.
Well, because so technically I got 2, but the other 2 are like my kids. So I've got a 13-year-old. That's my firstborn, and then I got a 9-year-old and a 4-year-old, and those are my girls' kids. But yeah, and like they're like my kids too. So and then now the baby.
Is it all girls?
All girls. So
don't let your beard grow out, bro.
Oh, so that's the snake thing started because me and my oldest, we were watching during COVID, we were watching videos, and she wanted to get more snakes, and so we get 2 more snakes, and all of a sudden she's afraid. But then I already had the bug, and I talked to Anthony, Granddaddy Herps, and he's the one I bought. Dude, I didn't know who he was. He's like talking to me, talked to me for like 2 hours. Drove out, like he was like an hour from me. Drove out, bought some snakes, like 4 of them from like I think it was on like a Craigslist ad or something. You know how you just buy whatever you can in the beginning. And that dude talked to me for like 2 hours, and he's the one that really sparked the whole thought of getting into this as a business, and got me super motivated. But yeah, so she was afraid of him at that point. So she's like, "We'll hold on," but it was cool on paper, but not in practice. It wasn't awesome for her. So, but the 9-year-old's the opposite. 9-year-old loves it. She was afraid of him at first, and now she's always trying to help. Okay. The 4-year-old, it's called her Bam Bam. She's a maniac. She's likable. She's crazy. She's hilarious. There's so much personality, but she's not into the snakes really. She's into doing flips. And then we'll see. I don't know. I was talking about this the other night with my girl that I think that the baby is going to be a girly girl, even though she still looks like me. Poor girl. She'll grow out of that hopefully.
Hopefully. My middle child's my girl, and she's kind of confused, right? Because she really loves the animals, and she wants to, because she has an older brother and a younger brother, she wants to do boy stuff. But then she sees mom, and mom's very much a girly girl, and so she wants to get her nails done and put makeup on and all this other stuff and like waddle around and be prissy. And it's just like, it's the
Just so
funniest
you can do
thing
it
because
all.
she'll do that.
Uh,
And then you'll be like, oh, something dirty and like something you would expect a boy to do. And she's like, no, I want to do that. But let me
That's
do it.
rad.
Let me do it with my fake nails and dress and everything. And I was like, no, 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 go change first.
I love that. That's awesome. She's morphing the two worlds together. That's rad.
For sure. It's gonna be an experience when she's older. I don't know. Like the boys are easy, man. Like when they get riled up and I'm just like, man, you need to do something. Hey, duke it out. No,
Yeah.
I don't do it like that, but like I'm literally like, go find something to do together. Like I just need a
Right.
break for a second, guys. And because the baby's always on me, man. Like he's my freaking shadow. But
Yeah. You have 3?
yeah.
You got 2 boys. I'm jealous, but I dig the girls.
That's where the gray streak came from, man.
Yeah. The third one just popped it out.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it was like back to back. Like we were getting out of the army, and well, my wife got out of the army because of our daughter, and we were just like, that's too much. Like we want at least one of the parents home all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as the doctor said she was good, I came home from the field. And so we did that thing, and
Yeah.
exactly a year later we had our third, and then we looked at each other and we're like, all right, us together are just too potent, so one of us has to get fixed. So who's it going to be?
Who
And
was it? Was it you?
I lost that.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got short
Lost
straw on that. I guarantee it. That's all my guy. It's always the guy. That's a terrifying thing. You're awake for that procedure too. I heard. Well,
Yep.
not heard. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're awake for it. They kind of smile and like, okay, this is gonna pinch a little bit.
I'll pass out.
I was cursing them on the second one. Like the first one wasn't that bad, but I was cursing them out, and I was like,
you
look,
had 2?
huh?
You had 2?
Well, no. So like they do them individually, right? And like by the time they got to the second boy,
second cord.
yeah, the second cord, it was all becoming unnumb again. And I was like,
oh shit.
So they had to reshoot and do all of this, and I was just like, oh, this is horrible. This is going down a wrong path. Let's jump back to snakes.
I know I was about to get real personal.
Yeah. So yet another thing we have in common, right? So what I was saying before all this is like your guys have pushed you on social media, and you've pushed yourself on social media, and then you took the step out this year with being on a show that a lot of our friends have been on, and we have had the pleasure of being on together, not on the same episode, but as being part of the 15 Minutes of Lame family.
Oh yeah.
So let's yes. I'm gonna give Chris a shout out. I think it's a great freaking thing. I think it spotlights a lot of people. What was your experience with it, man, and how has it kind of changed you?
Oh, dude, that was like I just posted somebody like that was the highlight of my time in this industry, because as soon as I kind of learned that the breeding thing was a legitimate business, I was more interested. So I started trying to soak up as much information as possible. Stumbled upon it, and those podcasts. I was like, holy shit, there's podcasts about this, and his was the one I stumbled upon. And I listened to like 2 episodes straight, 2 or 3 episodes, and I was laughing. And I'm a big comedy guy. I love cynical humor and just I it's no limit. I love it. So I got his personality. Like I picked up on it. It was entertaining. I was laughing. And so to see at the time thinking like, oh, these people are, most of them are probably weirdos. To see somebody that, I don't want to say, it didn't really have anything to do with reptiles, but it was just somebody that was more along my mental wavelength as far as like humor went, or just talking about things and just shitting on things, jokingly. But like I dug it. So I really started listening to a lot of his stuff, and became really not jealous, but envious of people that were on there, and thinking like, man, that'd be awesome to be on one day. And so I got lucky enough, and he asked me, and of course the first time he asked me, I couldn't do it because I didn't technically jump on the first time, but Second time I did, and super happy about it, and I enjoyed it. Talked to him quite a bit, mostly afterwards, and that's one thing I will say to anybody that is listening is like that guy is, like I said, a cynical personality. He can be crass or whatever, but to me that's not a problem. But he's actually a super nice guy. You could tell he's genuine. You could tell he actually cares about a lot of stuff he shits on, and he's one of the more genuine people that I've actually come across, and I have a lot of respect for that guy, big time.
You know how much shit you're gonna get for saying all that good thing,
I don't go
all those good things about him now, right? Like,
yeah.
as soon as he sees this, it's over. Your shit's gonna blow up.
Destroy his street cred.
Yeah. And it's one of the funny things too, because like when I was in class and I wrote him this message and I was like, dude, I don't know if you realize it, and I don't know if a lot of people realize it, but the questions that he used to ask back in the day, I think like last year, and I think with yours in the start of this year, was essentially teaching people how to set up a business plan, and they didn't realize it. And I was just like, concepts, if you guys only realize.
Well, no, you're right. And what he does too, like the way he can run a conversation is it's a talent. Not a lot of people can do it.
Absolutely.
And he inevitably kind of guides you where he's pushing. So you're right. He does ask those types of questions they're masked in humor, but there really is substance to them if you actually listen. So yeah, it and yeah, I don't know.
So what was the biggest takeaway from that? And essentially, I was leaving you a freaking window to like promote your voting status, but you didn't do that.
Well, this is the thing.
So it opens in a couple of days, man.
November 17th. I mean, you can vote once a day for 24 hours, once every 24 hours up until December 24th. This is the thing. I'm not a big salesman. I'm not going to push myself on people. If you like me, you like me. But seriously, though, you should all go vote every day. Vote when you can. There's a lot of good people in there. I'm really honored to be part of that whole group. Winners in the past, as well as other people that have been on it in the past. I'm friendly with, and I care a lot about, and I respect the whole concept, and I respect the process and the fact that he gives, like you said, people a platform to kind of introduce themselves to the community. I think that's awesome, and I think that winning it would just be a huge cherry on top, because I mean, you're in good company with Shane and Antoine. Absolutely. Right? And then on top of that, if you don't just piss it away and utilize it for what it can do, it can really, set you on a good little path, business-wise, community, notoriety, all that stuff. So, yeah, that'd be rad. But there's some stiff comp in there, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's exciting. I'm looking forward to it. I'm trying to think of clever things to put out there. So we'll see.
You better come up with it, man. Like there was a point where like me and Antoine were going at it for our battle, and we started playing into things, and I saw that wrapped in, and then I learned like the old wrestling style. That's kind of where the sponsor spots come from, right? It's like my thought process with talking with Shane and how he did the wrestling style. So I look back to, well, what caught my eye as a kid, right? And it was like those old infomercial pop in your face. So that's the way I made the sponsor spot.
Dude, the old wrestling promos were like some of the best TV gold ever. Like just the Ultimate Warrior, just all those Ric Flair. That a lot of that was ad-lib. That was amazing stuff. I don't have the I could picture it. I couldn't picture myself saying it. So hats off to you if you can do that.
You gotta just let go, man.
I know.
You gotta quit caring what people think about you.
At the end of the day, get on juice and cocaine and then just go at it.
Yeah. So where do you want to? Obviously, you want to take this full time, but where do you see yourself taking this? Like,
definitely full time.
Like a family hobby, or
no? I'd like to turn it into a legitimate business. One thing I have learned, and I heard somebody say it the other day, and a lot of people said it, but it does teach you patience, because, like with a lot of things on paper, it's gonna pay off in dividends. You're gonna get your return super quick, but the reality is for me at least, I stopped caring, like I said earlier, about a lot of those different projects. And now the stuff that I'm focused on is going to take some time. So I'm okay with that. But I also have tethered my expectations a little bit. Not necessarily saying that the end result isn't what I still saw it as in the beginning. It's still that. But the path is going to be a little bit different to get there. Might take a little bit longer, but I definitely am not just going to just throw the towel in one day and just call it quits and fade off. Too much time, too much money, and I actually really enjoy it. So, you know, being able to do it, it doesn't tear your body up. You can be with the family. Like, it's the ideal profession for that I can think of for me, for my life. So definitely want to turn it into something more than what it is now. Have a separate facility, maybe even if, you know, it's on the property I live on, but just have something dedicated to it and treat it more like a business, which I should start doing a little bit better at. But yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely.
So I know you said something about like a tattoo logo or something with Chris, but like what's the steps that you've taken? Because you're an actual licensed LLC, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you want to kind of talk about that and why you chose to go that route versus other routes?
Yeah.
'Cause obviously there's a lot of different.
Honestly, I think I shouldn't have done the LLC. I think I should have done the sole proprietorship looking back. I had a particular situation where I put all this time into the name, the logo, drawing it up, getting somebody to design it. And, you know, 6 months, 8 months, whatever it was closer to a year actually had gone by. And I had somebody from up north with like a PowerPoint logo, like of a salamander, and saying that that was his name. Well, I'd come across his name, that I was taking his name. He wants me to change it. Meanwhile, this dude's completely irrelevant as far as everything, the community goes and everything. But he's still, and everything I saw of his, it was Redwood Exotics. It wasn't Redwood Reptiles. I was like, it was different.
Right.
Totally different vibe. Totally, I took nothing from you. Like that's there's no argument there. But a place he breeds geckos. So I was like, what you fucking dude? So anyway, so that was a thing we had going back and forth. So I was like, you know, fuck this. I'm gonna just incorporate it and trademark the thing too.
Red,
So that's what I did. And what's that?
trademark the Redwood so no one else can use it.
No. Well, mostly the name Redwood Reptiles, and then yeah. So and I don't. It's not even like one of those things where I'm just trying to, you know, bogart it from anybody. But it was because of that particular situation where this dude's trying to say this, that, and the other, and he didn't have anything to really back it up with. So, anyways, that's water under the bridge. It's gone. It's done with. You know, he said, you know, we whatever parted ways. But that was why I kind of rushed into getting that. So, looking back, doing a sole proprietorship, one in California, it's the only state that really bangs you at the LLC prices. It's $800 a year, so they get you, and that's like that. When that bill comes around, it sucks. And then if you don't pay it, it adds up. So I need to learn more, but I do know that having an LLC doesn't really benefit you necessarily unless you have like employees or you're much bigger than I am. So sole proprietorship, you're essentially getting the same tax benefits as you would with an LLC for the level that, like, say I'm at right now. And you're not paying a yearly fee to the state.
Well,
Who wants to pay more taxes?
Part of it's the protection too, man. Like,
right. The only thing with
think
protection though is like, so I had a holster LLC company for like 5 years from 2012 to 2017. So I saw the value in it there for sure, because the liability, it's with firearms. Somebody could blame you. It's your holster, whatever. With this, I'm not really sure, and I thought about it. I haven't really landed on anything that could be a threat as far as somebody suing me for liability reasons. I mean, because personally, if something ever happens, like if anyone, I just think about it, anyone that's going to buy a high dollar snake, has other high dollar snakes, knows how the shit goes, and it's going to get worked out one way or another. I'll make it right if something happens, right?
No, for sure.
But
I get that.
You know, it's not like I'm selling a ball python, it's going to pop out corn snakes and then I can sue me. It is what it is. Like, so I don't really know where the liability protection would be necessary, and maybe I just haven't thought of it.
No, I get it, man. It's one of those things. So like with me going through school and all that, when I did it, I had to go through an externship as well. And like when I talked to them, we talked like S corp, C corp,
Hmm.
the sole proprietor, LLC, and like every time we just went back to LLC. So that's
Well,
what I
to
would.
be honest, and to be honest with you, the only downside of the LLC is that fee that I pay. So if you're out of California, I would just say do the LLC. It's $100 or $200, whatever is the most I've seen.
Yeah, I think it's like I don't know where it is everywhere. I think Texas is like 3 or 350 or something like
Oh
that. But
wow, okay.
literally, that's
But
a basic snake that comes out once a
right.
year that you're giving up. That's nothing. As
Yeah,
bad as that sounds, but still, you
I know what you
you
mean.
get where
But
we're going with that. Yeah.
yeah, I think so. Yeah, the downside is me being here or being there in California and having to deal with that and pay the state more money than I want to. So that's probably the downside of it. But, yeah, hopefully I never have to utilize the
Oh,
protection.
I feel you. It's just it scares me with the sole proprietor because from what I understand, they can still come after like your personal stuff.
Yeah, if they have a case for something to sue you on. Yeah, which I guess, I mean, it's all subjective, right? Depending on who the judge is and right. So
No, I feel you. I feel you. Just as long as you're protecting yourself, that's all I care about, man. Like,
yeah,
I think everyone should. I think everyone should, even if you're doing this as a hobby, you should do it in some manner where you have a line of protection.
hmm
Just one, it makes you look more official, as
yeah,
bad as that sounds, but it legitimizes what we're trying to do as an industry. So I think it's really important everyone does that.
yeah. I agree with that.
Um, now that we got all serious and shit, sorry about that. Um, I threw myself off talking about that.
That's all right.
Go down. Well, no, like we have regular conversations about this here locally too, like in our snake group and snake chat, and there's been a lot of arguments about it recently. So I'm sure they're gonna blow it up later.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So let's focus on you. You got your stuff trademarked. We got your LLC. And you said you're not sure exactly the size it's going to go, but you essentially have the building blocks for everything. So say everything goes to plan, how big do you think this will actually get for you? Like, where would you like to push this?
Like around 100 clutches
Okay.
a year, I think. I think that. See, the thing is now I also say that it's a lot of work doing the 200 clutches because I'm not doing that full time, or the 200 big animals. I'm not doing it full time. Now, if I was doing it full time, you wouldn't hear me complaining about 200 animals. But because I'm not, it does cut into my time, obviously. So I think that if you're at a point where you're profiting enough to sustain your lifestyle and your family comfortably, and you can do it full time, I think that at least for me personally, right around 100 clutches, so around 300-400 animals, maybe a little bit right around 400, would be doable full time. So that's, like I said, on paper it sounds good.
So how many clutches are you pushing out right now?
So last year I had 14, and this year I think I'm only gonna hit like 14 or 15. I should have had over 30. Like I said, I missed a lot. Missed a lot, but that was my fault.
And are you doing ultrasounding, or are you palpating, or what's
ultrasounding? So, and that's where it's like more shame on me, because it was just me. It really was me not ultrasounding these animals, thinking that I had more time, without actually going and checking. Like, doesn't make any sense. It's stupid. But the ultrasound is huge. I think I like it. People say you don't need it. You don't need it, but you don't need a lot of things that you have that make your life better. So I think personally, if you're going to turn this into something, I think you need it, or at least I do. I'll just speak for myself. I need it because I can't feel shit. Like they got 30 millimeters. I'm like, I don't feel anything. I like dead fingertips. So it's like, I can't palpate to save my life. So,
well, you as a sheriff, you have to have like the EMT certifications and all that as well, right?
yeah. Well, not extensive. Trust me, it's real superficial certification. Yeah. You take a couple classes and that's it. Yeah.
Well, so I say that because as EMTs, you do a lot of sticks and things like that, right?
Mm.
So like I had I had a ridiculous amount of nerve damage when I got out of the army because I was a medic and I had to train medics. So I literally sat out there and was like
Oh, really?
essentially
You
a
got stuck?
human push pincushion, right?
Yeah.
So like I have all this nerve damage where you said dead fingertips and that's what I thought about.
Yeah.
Um, I have no feeling in my fingertips at all. Like I have to, so when I palpate, I'm almost running the second joint in there and I'm
And
trying to feel for any sort of bump at all.
yeah, that's gnarly. I like the the the, the certainty of it.
Yeah,
Um,
no, I feel you.
I don't have like a super expensive one. It's the Connect one or
Mhm.
Connect, whatever it's called. But it works. I don't know, you know, if my results would be different if I had a more higher end one, but it seems to do okay for me now. And I
When you're
think
using
that
it. Oh,
what's that?
just kidding.
When I'm
I'm
using
giving
it,
you
yeah.
crap. I said when you're
When I,
using
actually
it.
bust it out and plug it in,
Yeah,
it works
yeah,
great. Yeah, no, but it well, part of that too is it is a hassle or ultrasounding by yourself. Um, you half the things will be fine, the other half will just be flying all over the place or not moving or not
right.
participating or cooperating. And you got to get it after a certain amount of days after feeding. You can't do it too close to feeding. If they're in shed, sometimes it'll come through, sometimes it won't. Um, and some snakes just retain, their waist longer, and it just backs up, and so all that stuff contributes to your reading. And sometimes it's super frustrating after like 5 or 6 and I don't see anything. What the hell's going on here? And
Right.
it's always one of those things, but I gotta stay on it a little bit more. But yeah, I love having an ultrasound.
Nice. Yeah. No, I feel you, man. Like it's coming up soon. Like you only have a couple years left, and then this is a full time gig. So, what do you think the next big step is going to be for you to take it to that and comfortably do this full time?
So um I don't know if I have a game plan for that, like, laid out. I do know that um right now, we'll say, some of the projects I was interested in, so Sunset, Mandarin, and even Puzzle to a degree, is starting to get some legs and get some notoriety. And I think, I don't want to say like, so I got lucky, I think, with that because it just happened to fit into what I liked at the time. And now I'm in a position where I can make some stuff that's going to be valuable for who know how long, I don't know. But right now, they're both pretty valuable. So if I could continue to kind of set myself up like that, stay at the front of the curve, maybe not ahead of it, but right at the front, and keep producing animals that'll continuously put me in that position. That's kind of ideally what I want to do. So, like I'm doing some super chocolate to Mandarin pairing. So stuff that hasn't, trying to think of stuff that hasn't really been done. It might come out looking like crap, but stuff that, now I have this male I produced, a Mandarin, that I've actually just started breeding for me. So that's pretty awesome seeing the stuff you produce
Yeah, no,
start to work. Um, and yeah, so I think that I'll say low overhead, but not super heavy overhead, not a ton of snakes, but just carefully selecting your breeding plans so that you're still going to yield. I mean, if you sell three $25,000 snakes, five $10,000 snakes over a year, that's not that out of the realm of doing it. That dude right there too, Brandon, that guy's in the same boat. Like, that guy's producing a ton of cool stuff, and I he's going to be in a position too, I think, coming up with the Sunset stuff, especially that. And he's got some crazy double head stuff that people don't even know about, like Sunset DG.
well, they do now.
Well, yeah. Oh, I think he's been selling them, but it's not talked about enough. But that guy puts a ton of work and effort into his promotion and his videos and stuff, and he's got some really good animals, and he's a cool guy too. But yeah, I think just trying to put myself in that position to stay relevant is the most important thing. If I stay relevant, then I can hopefully sell my stuff and support. But
It's the hardest
I'm a
thing.
risk taker. If stuff starts going good, I tend to jump a little early, but that could work out. It could not. But I'm not at the point yet where I'm ready to jump or able to.
Okay.
But I think getting those, so that sunset clutch, I'm selling most of it, if not all but two, and they're all Posset clowns. So I am going to shed test all those, and that'll, hopefully affect the price in a positive way. But either way, that clutch will help me out big time, and some other stuff. So.
Okay. So what do you have in now? I want to say it's what, 4 years, 3 years?
What's that?
How long have you been in the
Two and a half years.
Like 2.5? Okay.
Yeah.
So you're new, but you're not new. What would you say? And this is kind of like how I like to wrap things up. What would you say to people coming in as advice to them to set them along the right path? Because we all have that person. We've had mentors, and even at this point, I'm sure there's people, whether you believe so or not, that you've mentored in some aspect. With that, in the reptile industry, what's the advice you would give for those coming in?
I think that don't be afraid to screw up, like to make bad purchases. Try not, but things that will just happen inevitably that you're going to try and avoid, just learn from them. It's not always the end of the world. Having a good mentor is huge. But then again, when you're coming in new, it's hard to really like be able to have the tools to know which mentor is good or not, or because everyone. It's like when you get into whatever it is, you think everybody that's been doing it for a while is shit hot, and you realize after a while, no, they're turds. And so it's like the same thing. Like you don't have the mental or the experience tools to really decipher who's a proper mentor. So hopefully you get lucky with that, but try and find someone you vibe with, you respect. I think, surround yourself with cool people, not trying to be phony. And like, I mean, you could say don't be that guy, but if you're that guy, you're going to be that guy, whatever it is, or the shit talkers are bad, they're toxic, whatever. But I mean, but like I said earlier, I think a huge thing too, if you want to get into like the higher end stuff, is to purchase smartly. You don't have to get double or visuals on both sides, and don't do 50 to 50% because that's stupid. Like unless you're ultra lucky, which isn't going to continue to happen, you can't build a business or breeding plan around that. So you gotta like have a little scratch to come in with to make some purchases, but you don't have to go balls to the wall and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I think just I don't know, it's tough. I feel like I'm brand new, so it's hard for me to even consider giving advice. But yeah, if I were to do it again, that's some of the stuff I would do.
Okay.
Which I got lucky with the people I surround myself with, my mentors. I'm usually pretty good at weeding out or picking up on red flags and stuff. So yeah,
well, it's kind of the job forte.
I know.
Right. So yeah, man. So since you feel like that's the most important part, what's some of the things that you looked for in your mentor before you decided to go with them?
How successful they were.
Okay.
I think if just like with any business, you're gonna go to the guys at the top, you're gonna go to the guys not at the top. I don't think it's a bad thing. Like let's say like Anthony, like I mentioned earlier, he's not making Justin money or Miguel, but he's been doing it a long time. He has a lot of experience, and he's super helpful and generous with his time too. So having somebody like that, they don't necessarily have to be financially at the top, just to have the experience and for you to buy. I think that's equally as good. So I don't get me wrong when I say it has to be that. That's just kind of what I gravitated towards.
Well,
But
no, and I think so. Like that's our personality as humans too, though, right? Like if we're looking at this and we're looking at, well, I want to turn it into a business versus just a hobby.
mm-hmm.
We want to go to the top, and we want to be associated with the people that are on the top and have that knowledge of how to get there. That's
Right.
building your circle, like we were talking about before. And I think a lot of people do it wrong. I know there's certain people towards the top that I approached the wrong way, and I had to learn because I didn't have that. And I still don't think I have it. A lot of the time is uh, that communication skill in person. Like I'm really good over text. I'm
Mm-hmm.
really good like one-to-one like this, I can talk all day. But when you get a crowd around me and I'm worried about like what's going on around me, I can't focus, and that's when you see everybody, right? So it's a little bit harder for me. And so there's a couple people that were closer to the top that I was off-putting to in some manner because I was impatient because of what was going on around me, not so much like with them or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
It sucks. It's a live and learn, man.
Yeah, for sure. It's just like anything else, right?
Yeah. So what do you want to do as your biggest push coming into this next year? And then if for all those that are interested in your projects like the Sunset and your DG stuff and your Mandarin stuff, where are they gonna get a hold of you, bro?
So I'm personally super excited right now because this year, although numbers wise it wasn't what I anticipated, it was a smashing success as far as what I produced and what I wanted to produce. So, and I say that not necessarily just because I put animals together that I bought, but because I raised up a lot of the animals I put together this year, from hatchlings to the females and males. So, I can't. It's not like the same as having your own breed, but my point is that investment, I finally started to see it. Those $5,000 animals started to finally do something instead of just consume food. And so now I've got stuff that I'm going to be able to pair up next year that I bred last year that, I have a really good shot at hitting triple visuals of some of this stuff. It didn't take a ton of money to make those projects go down. But I got lucky. And so now I think next year, the big push for me is going to be, the big excitement, I should say, is going to be being able to utilize the stuff I've been raising up and the higher end stuff, and not be forced to use the stuff I got towards the beginning that I purchased. But that, and yeah, I'm be at shows as many as I can. Instagram or it's probably the best way to reach. I try and stay on Facebook. For some reason, I don't get all my notifications, and I don't. I swear. On Messenger, but sometimes it doesn't. For some reason, doesn't show up on the app. But yeah, Instagram I check regularly. I got to get better with MORPHMARKET. I got like 40 animals to put up there, so I'll be doing that soon. But yeah, I'll just keep doing the same thing. Just keep plugging away.
Well, I know you're in California, but like that shipping window for like 3/4 of the country is about to hit, right? You might want to get those animals up.
It's like hibernation time. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. But
I feel you. I'm giving you crap, but I'm in the same boat. I got breeders that I'm like, I don't know why I picked these up. Like I bought them and I bred them once, and I was just like, well,
that was that pairing was so much more exciting 2 years ago.
Let's see if I can figure this out. Okay, I figured out how to do it. Now I need some real stuff to play with. But
right.
No, I feel you. I got to do the same thing. I still have so I'm sold out as far as my babies.
Well, that's awesome.
I have a couple of partners, but I didn't do much this year. I only did 5 clutches.
Okay.
Expecting a lot bigger year, but that's
one thing I'll do next year. I'm gonna be on that ultrasounding. I'm gonna do it at least once a month, if not twice. And because some females, I have had some jump from 0 to 30 in 1 month.
That's
so it was like 8 or 9 millimeters, then jump to 30 at the end of the month. It was crazy. So that's scares you into getting on that shit. So I got to do that more. I'd like to say I'm going to do YouTube more. I can't guarantee it, but I want to.
I'm going to be in your ear on that.
I hope so, because I need.
I really enjoy, like, even though I think it's because you're like me, man. Like you got that monotone, just really smooth.
Yeah, dude.
Radio voice, and it's just like, man.
I got the mumbles.
It's easier to watch than these high energy people, and I'm just like, fuck your energy.
Yeah, like it's so
you can't do it. Like
filming yourself, it's one of the hardest things ever. And then you rewatch, and I'm like, I don't even know what I just said right there. Or I thought I was smiling, but I look like I'm miserable. I can't put that, and so it takes forever. And it's so like manufactured at the end of it that it just I hate it. It's a thing.
No, I feel you. I
But
feel you. I think everyone should do it though. Like I honestly think
yeah,
like everyone complains about views and how it's a saturated space, but like at the end of the day, it's a catalog for what you're doing. Like so if there's something like heaven forbid something happens to your records, whether they're electronic or written down, right? You can still go back to YouTube and be like, okay, well, these clutches and these animals hatched this day. This was what was going on in my life. If you do it like a vlog style or whatever, and like it's another method of backing up all your information in my eyes.
for
So
sure.
really smart. And then
Yeah,
like for people like you and me that haven't been selling for that long, honestly, it helps grows excitement in our projects or like what we're doing over here. So it brings eyes to you. And I think it's super smart, man.
I think it's the triple effect, triple of trifecta, triple threat is I think YouTube and Instagram need to be a part of your repertoire, and I also think that that's because that's how people are getting comfortable with you. They're getting to know you. They're getting you're if you appeal to people, then they're going to want to buy from you. There's no coincidence that the dudes that are super successful on social media platforms across the board are the ones selling the most snakes.
Right.
Just is the way it is. So to not do it is just a wasted free marketing space, and I don't think I'll never do it for the monetary aspect of it, only because I know myself and I don't have what it takes to be super successful on YouTube as far as making money through YouTube. However, using it as a marketing tool, I think is priceless, and I think it's stupid that I don't do it, and it's lazy, it's dumb of me, but I think that it's ultra important as far as that
Well,
goes.
that's kind of like what I was talking about when I brought you on, right? Like was okay, like I know YouTube money's not big money unless you get
Mm.
like huge, right? And that's why I said, hey, anything that I get from this, I'm finding as like ways to create contests to do more, essentially promoting,
Yeah,
right? Like I'm so like my sponsors, the money from my sponsors go directly to USARK. I never even see that money. Like they send me a thing every quarter and I posted up. It was like, hey, we were able to raise this much money for USARK
nice.
to you guys buying using my codes. And so like that's the stuff from YouTube's gonna be like more okay, well, how do I bring people that aren't usually around me over?
Hmm.
Like let me pay for your ticket to come down here because you can't usually come to Arlington or something, you know what I mean? Or hey, let me pay for your VIPs for X amount of people within my Discord or Patreon or something so that we can do like a group chat or something like that. You know what I mean?
But see what I respect about that, and people might say, "Oh, where are you gonna spend money?" I said, but to me, that just looks like you're growing the I don't know, I hate calling it a hobby, but it is. But you're
I
growing the
feel you.
business side of it and the community by doing stuff like that. So you're coming out of pocket, and you might not be the easiest thing to do, but you're doing it because you see the bigger picture. And I think that good stuff like that, one, it's going to help the other people too, but also it comes back to you, and I think that it puts you in a good position as far as like cementing yourself as part of the community or a contributing member of the community too. So I think it's huge. It's
Well,
awesome.
it's like it's a big thing, man, and I don't think enough people do enough of it. Like I know, I know people's Patreons where they like, okay, well, all the money, like Miguel's, for instance, right? Like the money you put into Miguel's can go towards the snake.
Savings account.
Yeah, it's a huge savings account, so you could buy
Mm-hmm.
a big powerhouse animal. But like, and that's what scared me about Patreon, if I'm being honest. Like, Patreon scares the ever living crap out of me because I'm like, well, one, I don't think I'm that interesting to watch. Like these people are here for you; they're not here for me.
No,
Um, well, I'd like to believe that at least.
I'd like to believe what you
Um,
said, but I don't. But go ahead.
no, these people are definitely here for you, bro. Um, but like I just it took me so long until like the guy that I'm kind of bringing up, and he's in a couple of different Patreons, and he's like, man, the stuff you tell me for free is stuff that I have to like hound people for in Patreon sometimes. And it's like I understand that, but I never wanted to use that platform as like benefit me. You know what I mean? So it took me a long time to figure out, okay, well, if I start doing this, how's it going to benefit the community? Like not
Well,
just in the content and stuff, but like
yeah,
how am I going to
because
benefit the
it gets
community?
to a certain point where you're always going to learn something. You can always there's always something to learn, right? But it gets to a certain point where you're not searching for all this info that you were searching for in the beginning. So the Patreon become kind of obsolete to you. As much as you want to support it and keep dumping your money, you're not getting anything out of it. And so it gets to a point where, okay, I've learned this. Now how's this Patreon going to benefit me? And that's where people like Miguel's, like you brought up, is such a great thing, because I look at it strictly as a savings account. And I know I'm going to buy from him, but I know his animals aren't cheap, and I know that I don't usually have that kind of cash on hand. So it's nice to have, right? So I think that's awesome. I think, at first I wasn't say skeptical. I just didn't see the value in it. What Justin was doing this top tier, but after seeing him consistently doing these group things and having people go over there and the networking that comes with it, and what Ozzy's doing with his and meeting up with people, I think that's awesome. And I think that's how you benefit post facts. You know what I mean? Once you get all the breeding stuff out of the way, it's like, okay, well, now I'm getting value out of this because one, the networking, two, you're meeting good people. So that's not really money, but still. And so I think that it has to have value for, otherwise people are going to peter out and
Right.
jump off.
100%.
So yeah, I can see the dilemma, or how that'd be tricky to kind of navigate through.
So I guess since we're on the subject, what's the greatest thing that you've pulled from it? And then we'll kind of wrap it up, man. I know you got a baby that you probably want to talk to before bed and things like that. So
No, it's all good. 2 hours back over there, so we're ahead of time.
oh, that's true. I didn't even think about that.
So what are you saying? What was the biggest thing I pulled?
Yeah, so like what's the benefit, or like the biggest benefit from a Patreon or even a Discord, like whether you're putting money in or not, right? Like a lot of people do Discord or all these other social medias now that haven't exactly like plateaued anywhere. Out of those groups, like versus your usual just typical, hey, this is Instagram and this is my post, and
Mm-hmm.
oh, we have like a group chat here. What's the most beneficial thing that you've been able to pull out of like an alternate social media?
So I think it's come in waves. So initially, the first section being on Billy's top tier, which was not cheap, but being on that level, and participating, you gotta like take advantage of the options. So participating in these Zoom calls we would have, and talking to him, being able to call him was massive for me. So that one, it just helped build my knowledge and my confidence. But I also did start meeting some cool people that did build somewhat of a foundation for my social networking side. Mike from Magnitude Morphs is one of those dudes too that I still see and talk to frequently, and that's where I met him. And he's a great guy too. So I think that it can benefit you if you utilize the platform and you're learning. So in the beginning, you can totally do that. Post that, I have bought some snakes, or a snake from Miguel, where I used some of that credit, so that helped financially. And I think that there's certain things. Will has a really good one because he puts these short little videos out and they're pertinent. Ozzy's is amazing because Ozzy is the one person that I will constantly look to as far as his Patreon goes, to see stuff that's not necessarily snake related, but is also business minded, life minded, which all kind of ties in together. It all dovetails into the whole snake thing. So he offers really good content and resources for that kind of thing, for thinking outside the box, essentially, with the snake business or as a business. And I think Will's videos will always be those are the videos where sometimes I'll see certain things or learn little tidbits that I hadn't really known before or hadn't heard before. And $25 a month to me is worth it for his. And same thing with the other guys. So they just pull different things at different times in your stages in your life or career, for sure. But yeah.
So when we're ready to buy from Andrew and
That's
Redwood Reptiles, how do we get a hold of you, brother?
Probably Instagram's the best way. Instagram or MORPHMARKET. Now that they have the app, I get notifications. I get messages. That's awesome. So I don't have to go in there and check it and hope somebody didn't, message me 5 days ago and I lost the sale. But
Right. Right.
yeah, MORPHMARKET or Instagram, perfect.
So one of the things that I talked to John about this last week when we did ours was I didn't realize there was like a follow feature. And then they've added other features where like you could put in, hey, I'm looking for these specific genetics in a snake.
I
And
just
it'll
learned
send
about
you a
that.
notification when they get posted.
I just learned about that. That was pretty cool. Yeah.
So
It's nice having
everyone
that.
should take advantage of that right now.
Yeah.
If you want to learn more about Morph Market, because there's all kinds of crap that I didn't know was possible. Like I was just talking about simple things that I knew were coming up. Go watch last week's video. There's my plug. Boom.
Someone
Flip your
needs to
stuff.
make a video. Like, they do those videos with iPhones. Here's 100 things you didn't know about your iPhone.
Yeah.
Make like a quick one for MORPHMARKET users. And just be like, here, you can
Well,
do
no.
this feature
So
and run through it.
Morph Market has its own YouTube, but
Oh, really?
they only like they do a quick demonstration of each feature on Morph Market.
Well, I guess that wasn't such a brilliant idea then. It's already been done.
Well, I mean, it is because how many people really?
I didn't even know they had an Instagram.
Actually, I'm gonna do this because I got to know, just to be smart. So go ahead and plug all your stuff. So you said go to Instagram. Instagram's the easiest thing for you.
Instagram, MORPHMARKET's on to Redwood Reptiles. If every time somebody buys a snake from me, or if I see you at a show, 9 times out of 10, I always just give you my phone number. Just a lot quicker sometimes. Just text me if you have it or call me. I keep weird hours, and I sleep heavy. So if I'm asleep, don't worry about waking me up. Just call me, text me, whatever. I really am into, if you have a question or if you want to, I don't have a ton of knowledge, but I will give you my perspective on it. And I have no problem talking to people. So I'm not ever going to be that guy that, is unapproachable because I act a certain way or I want to think I'm something I'm not. I'm always going to be the same person you see at the show or on these lives or on the phone. So always feel free to come up, talk to me, even if it's just to talk shit. It's not, doesn't have to buy something.
So, you know why you didn't know about Morph Market?
The
Morph Market account only has 630 subscribers.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm not
for all the things that are on there, there's only 600 some subscribers. So
that's what they need. Their New Year's resolutions needs to be to market their own.
Yeah, I'm gonna get on John about that.
Yeah.
Like, hey man, you need a social media crew. Everyone knows how to write code over there. You need to start doing stuff.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Man, I appreciate you. I know we've been talking about this back and forth for a while, so to finally be able to sit down, I enjoyed it. There's
me too.
Obviously a lot of topics we didn't cover and we probably could have covered better, but kind of what I like about these, man, is it's just a simple overview.
Yeah, I'm always humbled every time somebody you ask me, and like I'm honored to be on your show, and like I dig it, and I think it's a good way to kind of people might have the wrong perception of you or think differently. It's kind of a good way to clear the air or just kind of put yourself out there. And so I really appreciate you taking the time to have me on and asking me
about the other people. Like the vlogs, which I'll eventually get back to, are supposed to be about me, and that's why I named this Outside the Clutch, because it's supposed to be okay. Let's get to actually know the guest versus just, oh, how many clutches are you having? What are you working with? Let me ask the same 10 questions that everyone else talks about.
Yeah, and I think kind of to what we were talking about earlier, like the benefit of YouTube and stuff is to get to know the person. People, you can look to see how many clutches they have on their MORPHMARKET, not MORPHMARKET, but that or Instagram, or you can figure out all that basic stuff there. But to sit and people want to get to know people, I think. At least I do when I watch stuff.
100%, brother. 100%. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this started to sign off. I'm gonna throw you in the back if you're okay. Just hold on.
Yes, sir.
A second. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed Andrew. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff that we probably could have dived deeper into, and he will after we find out his 15 minutes of lame situation, we'll probably look at bringing him on here again at some point. I don't want to bring him in too often, you know what I mean? But let's talk about what's coming up next week. So next week I'm going to do something that I've never done before, and that's we're doing 2 live podcasts next week. So I'm going to have a Friday night podcast and I'm going to have a Saturday night podcast, like you're seeing our regular scheduled podcast on Saturday nights. And so the Friday night podcast is going to be one of our local guys. I'm trying to finish up the local breeder series for y'all so you can get to know everyone that I work with here. And then Saturday night, we're going to be talking with Lucas from Lab Exotics and talk about retics and the retic lounge and another great podcast that I'm really enjoying. So I hope you all come hang out for those. This is going to be a regular thing. If you see me not post something coming up on a Saturday, like if you haven't seen something by Wednesday, you need to hit me up and be like, hey, get on your shit. We're not taking a week off through the end of the year. So I hope you all enjoyed this one. Make sure you go give Andrew a bunch of freaking love, man. Like, go blow up his Instagram, go blow up his Facebook, blow up MORPHMARKET, buy the animals that he has on there. I don't think we jumped on there, but I want to say he has like 40 animals or something like that on there. Appreciate y'all. You have a great night. We'll see you next week.